So you and my father, obviously very, very close, worked together for a long time. You were a member at the Hideaway Club.
What do you mean? Our father. He's my dad too.
Pops. Who's Pops. You were a member at the Hideaway Club, which we talked about on his podcast, and then played a big role in the Madison Club and kind of getting all that going. So like, how did you join Hideaway, and then when did you meet him and kind of get into that world of?
So, as I mentioned, I went into the restaurant business after all my sports were hung up and done. And living down in Southern California, living anywhere basically, Palm Springs is a great little getaway that we all know. Jump in the wagon, 2 hours, 30-minute flight, you're right there. And it's the golf mecca, right? The weather's perfect, it's great and what have you. And I had some friends that were going down there to play golf. And I joined them for a golf trip. And of all places we ended up at was a place called the Hideaway. And I'm like, the hell's the Hideaway? I never even heard of the Hideaway. And I wasn't a big golfer. I didn't really get into golf until probably 30. But, I was blown away by it. First time you see Discovery property, right? The comfort stations and just the T-shirts and board shorts playing golf and just the music and everything. You're just like, whoa, this is my vibe, right? So I was invited to go out there. I went out there more than once. Next thing you know, I'm going out there a little more regularly. Well, I met Pops and actually met Joey Aronson as well. And we got to know each other a bit. They actually invited me to dinner one night and we hung out and we had some fun and kept BSing around. They're like, who's this guy out here golfing all the time? And we start hanging out. Now, Pops didn't golf back then. Pops, no golf. And Joey golfed a little bit. But one thing led to another, and Pops being Pops, I was bragging about it. Wow, Hideaway is unbelievable. What is this place? And he's like, knowing Pops, why don't you buy a place? And I'm like, I'm 30 years old. I don't need a second home in Palm Springs of all places. And sure enough, knowing him, one thing led to another, I ended up buying a place down there. And I was a member of the Hideaway now I did that in 2000. And and as I was a member, we got closer and we hung out quite a bit, and I'd see them when they came down, and I was just frustrated with the restaurant business, and I was venting to him the restaurant business. I'm over the restaurant business. I want out, blah, 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 blah. And he gave me this line. He said, you want to make real money, come work for me. And I was like, wow, okay. What does that mean? Let's talk about this. And so we kind of got to talking. We're pretty close at this time. So I trusted him and he trusted me. And the Madison was the next thing on the table. And he's like, look, we're going to do this new project down here called the Madison Club. It's adjacent to the Hideaway. It's the same piece of land, blah, blah, blah. I think you'd be great. Throw you in the trenches. You can learn from the ground up and see how it goes. I was like, man. And prior to, I was doing pretty good, for myself, I thought, right? I'm like, I'm great. I don't need a job, And, fortunately, I listened and I took a chance. I talked to my dad about it, and he's like, hey, you're young enough. If it doesn't work, you can always go back to something else, come back to the restaurant, but give it a go. It gravitated to me. I loved it. I told him I'd go. And so 2004 or 5, right in there, I jumped in bed, and sure enough, ground up, started off in the trenches and, had a couple of mentors training me. They were part of the organization far before me. And here we are 20 plus years later.
Were there any like crazy trench stories that happened that were kind of frustrating? Or?
So my first assignment was kind of a wild one. Now you're talking a flat piece of desert land, just kind of like this table here. And of course we were digging, and the golf course was graded out and whatever else. And the lot pads were around the property as we do. And I had these two mentors, Jack O'Keefe and Nick Blodgett, that were there before me. And my first assignment was, we want you to go out there, and there were 194 custom lots at the Madison Club. We want you to go out there, and we want you to write 3 sentences to like a short paragraph about each lot. Tell us why they're different, why one's better than the other, why one should be priced more than the other, blah, blah, blah. I don't know about you guys, and you guys are a lot smarter than me, but you go out there and look at a piece of desert land, all you see is tumbleweed, barbed wire, coyotes, and sand for miles.
Yeah.
You're going to run out of words pretty quick on what to say about why one is better than this, why one's more expensive than this. So that was kind of my first in the trenches story. Did I definitely say to myself, what the hell am I doing? Yes, more than once.
Dude, I'm just picturing myself being out there doing that. I'm like, so lot 17 has 4 tumbleweeds instead of 5. Like I wouldn't. What do you do? It's
Not to mention, it was probably 100 degrees out there that day, and I'm sweating like a dog.
Oof, that's amazing. Yeah, that transformation of Madison from what it was to what it is now is just like
it's spectacular.
That's as big as a juxtaposition as I think you can get.
Have you seen the video Making in Madison?
Yeah.
Obviously you have. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular.
Yeah,
it's still talked about this in the 20 years that I've been doing this. That arguably is the thing that's talked about right up there as one of the most impressive things we've done.
Yeah.
To take that flat piece of desert land and to move 5 million cubic yards of dirt and to create those cuts. You got some of those cuts, the golf courses down here, the houses are 100 feet above it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got those
That's
7
crazy.
bridges that are helicoptered in. I remember like yesterday, these helicopters are dropping these bridges into these creek beds and it was wild.
Yeah. But how great of a testament is that to Discovery, though, for that to be one of your earlier properties? And it's like, look at what we can do.
Right. It definitely set the standard to know, like, I'm with the right guys, I'm with the right group, and I love this. And there's only one way from here is up, and let's go.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah.
So fast forward to today, you're a partner at Discovery.
Yeah.
I don't even know your official title, but I know you're a partner and an executive, right? Like you're high
there
up
you
there.
go. There you go.
Was it senior vice president or?
Yeah, along those lines. Yeah, executive vice president.
Executive vice president.
Right.
But that's amazing. And I know you've like literally worked your ass off to get there and it's been a crazy ride along the way. What have been like some of your highlights and how do you think, what was like the secret sauce of being able to sell all that real estate?
Your dad's incredible, right? I mean, his vision made it easy for us to sell real estate. His confidence that he gave us made it easy for us to sell real estate. We all look at the sticker price of what we sell and we're like, there's no way they're selling that for that price. There's no way selling that for that price. But your dad had a way to train myself and all of us, believe in what you're selling it. Have confidence. People want what they can't have. And if we put it out there, they're going to want it. And it takes a while to do it because a lot of the relationships that you're bringing in to these properties to buy are personal relationships. And the last thing you want is your friends to think, because I have money, is my friend taking advantage of me? Is he trying to overcharge me? Is he, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you don't want them to think that. And that's not what we're doing. We're actually giving them a bargain in the long run. They don't see it out the gate. They're like, I'm going to pay 10 million for this or 20 million for that. Are you out of your mind? I can't tell you how many people have done that and come back and thank me or hug me or kiss me and tell me this is the greatest decision I've ever made in my life for me and my family. Because when they get in and they see what's going on, but once people are members and they spend this kind of money, they use it a lot more than they first thought they would use it. The amenities grow annually. So, whether it's golf or pickleball or spa or gym or restaurants, or now Padel is the big thing going on that Pops is addicted to and others, or whatever the case is, next thing you know, it becomes literally a Disneyland for children and a Disneyland for adults. And to put that priceless time on family, on yourself, on children, on friends is priceless.
Yeah.
And we all know life is short. We all take that saying for granted. But, people that have been fortunate enough to be able to afford our projects and they come there, out the gate, they may have a little like, do I need a third or fourth home? Or, God, I really don't want to spend that. It's a short time after they're looking at another property somewhere else because they love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I can, just from being around, I've heard of how many people, once they get their first one, they become members at multiple properties, right? Because of that discovery experience.
I think we're close to We're over 60% of our members are multiple members.
I mean, that speaks for itself, right?
We're over 60. I don't have the exact percentage, but it's north of 60% have more than one property with us. You know, and you're talking 15,000 members roughly across the board, which is a lot, you know.
Yeah. It's a high number.
Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.